running down South Colorado, West Texas bound.
Welcome to me and my uncle.
Yeah, we're going to talk NFL draft. We're going to talk NFL offseason. It's been a few months, right, since the end of the year. So I thought maybe we could talk about the teams we care about and what they're looking for in the draft, maybe what they did in the preseason or in the offseason, like making trades and things like that. How about we? And I got to tell you, show off your jersey to the people at home. Caleb Williams, USC, already on the bandwagon. I love it. I'm wearing my 13 jersey, although I think this will be Keenan Allen's number. There's rumors that Caleb Williams is going to wear 18 for the Bears, but it's just a rumor. And he's not even really on the team yet for another 8 days, so we gotta wait. But you seem on the Caleb Williams bandwagon, although yesterday you told me if you were picking for the Bears, you would pick a different quarterback.
Yes.
Who was it?
J.J. McCarthy.
J.J. McCarthy of Michigan would be your guy. You got any specific reasons? I know he won the national championship, so that's a big thing. Talk loud. Yep.
That's all.
That's all? Just that he's a winner?
Yeah.
Well, you know what? There was another guy who was a winner from Michigan. His name was Tom Brady. He worked out pretty good, didn't
Tom
he?
Brady?
He went to Michigan about
yeah.
25 years ago. Yep. So if he works out anything like him, J.J. McCarthy will be the guy. But I'm telling you right now, there is a 0% chance that the Bears draft J.J. McCarthy. I'm willing to bet the farm that they are picking Caleb Williams 8 days from now. So you're supporting him. I like it. And you obviously like Caleb Williams, right? Just not quite as much as J.J. McCarthy? Okay, so you know why the Bears got or are going to draft Caleb Williams.
No.
You don't know why? Well, because they traded Justin Fields.
Well,
So they don't have a quarterback.
True, but why don't they just get J.J. McCarthy?
Well, because most of the so-called experts say that Caleb Williams
It's the worst.
is better. That's what the experts say. You may not agree with the experts. That's what's fun about the draft, is some people will say, I like Caleb Williams, and other people will say, I like J.J. McCarthy. And then there might be somebody out there who says, I would draft Jaden Daniels from LSU if I was the Bears. Or I would draft Drake May. Or you could say Marvin Harrison Jr., the wide receiver. I would skip wide receiver, or I would skip quarterback altogether. So people have these opinions come draft season, and all that matters is what the Bears do next Thursday night. And they're going to pick Caleb Williams because, again, they traded Justin Fields, and now they really don't have a quarterback. So that's what they have to do with the number 1 pick. The Bears made a couple other moves. Like I said, Keenan Allen, he used to be number 13 for the Chargers. He's a new wide receiver for the Bears. He'll help. They got DeAndre Swift from Philadelphia. They added a tight end and a safety.
They have DeAndre Swift?
They got DeAndre Swift from Philadelphia. And what's weird is he only spent 1 year on the Eagles. He was on the Lions before that. So it's almost like the Lions and Bears traded running backs, because David Montgomery is on the Lions still. And now DeAndre Swift used to be on the Lions. He's on the Bears. So that'll be a better running back, I think. And a good running back and a good receiver like Keenan Allen will make life easier for Caleb Williams. Because usually it's hard for rookie quarterbacks. How about the Minnesota Vikings offseason? Their biggest move was getting rid of Kirk Cousins. He decided to go to Atlanta for a lot of money.
And they could get a bunch of trades with other teams and get J.J. McCarthy.
There's a chance.
If he's still open.
If he's open, yeah, he'll probably go, I would guess, in the top 10 picks of the draft. But the Vikings are at 11 right now, so they don't really know if he'll fall that far to 11. So they might have to put some trades together and say, well, hey, we'll give you this pick and we'll give you this pick, and will you give us a higher pick? So that's what happens on draft day. They don't do a lot of trades of players. on draft day, but they will trade picks to move around and get a different pick. So yeah, the Vikings need a quarterback, absolutely.
And the Bears.
And the Bears. So both of those teams, I feel like, will be drafting quarterbacks really high, really high. Lucky for the Bears, they don't have to trade anything to get one. The Vikings might have to, trade some pretty good picks to get one. Let's see, what else did the Vikings do? I told you yesterday they added the Green Bay running back, Aaron Jones.
Which is really good.
I think it's good. I mean, he's getting a little older for a running back, but he's still productive. And I swear, I didn't look up the numbers. I didn't look up the statistics to verify this. I'll just say it off of my eyes. He killed the Bears. Every time he played them, he just ran all over them. So I thought, oh, great, the Packers are getting rid of Aaron Jones. He'll be out of the division. And now look, he signs with their other rival, the Vikings, and now they're going to be seeing Aaron Jones still twice a year. So the Vikings got better at running back. I don't know.
But again, the Bears are getting really good players.
They're getting real good players.
Swift,
Keenan Allen, Caleb Williams. But if you like J.J. McCarthy better, you could see it as, well, look, I like McCarthy better than Williams, so the Vikings are better at quarterback. You might think that. I mean, we'll see. We'll see if they get McCarthy. It's a much more murky quarterback situation for the Vikings. They don't know who they're going to get. The Bears know who they're going to get because they're number one in the draft. I don't know if you know who Daniil Hunter is.
I do.
He's a defensive player for the Vikings, except he went to the Texans.
He did?
Yep. So he rushed the passer. That was his job. But they kind of got two guys to replace him. So it's almost like...
Well, he was really good.
He was really good. So they kind of decided, well, we'll let Hunter go. But I think with letting Hunter go, they got two other guys. One guy from the Texans, Jonathan Greenard.
So it's like they traded...
A little bit, because Hunter went to the Texans. You're right. So they didn't really trade them, but they ended up on opposite teams. They got this guy, you laughed at his name yesterday, Andrew Van Ginkel from the Dolphins. So these guys will rush the passer for the Vikings from both sides, whereas Hunter could only play one position. So we'll see. The Vikings are probably, they don't have a great player rushing the passer now, but they have two pretty good players rushing the passer now. So that's, that's probably an upgrade. Well, I don't know if that's an upgrade. We'll see. The biggest... Go ahead.
Can we talk about the 49ers a little bit?
Well, definitely.
Because their team is already loaded, but I want to see if their team is going to win a Super Bowl.
They are loaded. I've got a couple notes on the 49ers. Should we maybe finish talking about the division first, and then we'll get to the other teams? Okay. So we talked about the Vikings. You got any other thoughts on the Bears or Vikings before we talk a little about the Lions and Packers?
Well, did you say the Vikings, not Justin Jefferson, obviously, but the other wide receiver got
Addison?
traded?
No, KJ Osborne went to a different team. He was the third string receiver. He ended up with, he went to New England. So he'll be a pretty good receiver on the Patriots. Behind Addison and Jefferson, he was always going to be number 3 for the Vikings. So, to have a 1-2 punch of Jefferson and Addison is pretty solid. I mean, that's really good. Just touching on the rest of the division, I would say the Lions, they were the best team last year in the division, right?
Well,
They won the most
I would say
games.
the Packers did, right?
No, the Lions won the division and the Lions went further in the playoffs.
I thought the Packers did.
Packers were a wild card team.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think...
I thought they lost against LA.
Oh, the playoff game?
Rams.
Okay. Yep. Nope. They actually won that game. The Lions added a couple players to their defense. They added an offensive lineman. I think they got better. So the Lions, the Bears and Vikings.
The Lions could go to their first Super Bowl in a while.
Ever.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ever.
Crazy.
And I would like it if the Vikings went to their first Super Bowl ever.
Nope. They've been to 4
They have?
and they lost every one. I'm sorry to break
Yeah,
it to
because
you.
they've been to. Didn't they play against like Miami?
Miami, they used to be the Oakland Raiders. I think they lost to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
49ers, I feel like.
No, it would have been an AFC team.
Oh, yeah, right.
I'm gonna remember three of. Oh, maybe the Chiefs. They
The
lost to
Chiefs.
the Chiefs
Yeah,
in
the
Super
Chiefs.
Bowl IV, I believe. Okay, so I think the Lions are gonna be better. I think, and I hate to say this, I think the Packers might be better. They let Aaron Jones go, but then they made a move that the Packers never do. They signed Josh Jacobs from the Raiders, a running back who maybe 2 years ago led the league in rushing. So he's pretty good. They added a safety from the Giants. I think the Packers will at least be the same. Let's hope Jordan Love isn't as good as he played for the last half of the season. So I think the division is getting better. I just think that the top of the division, the Lions and Packers, could be at least as good, maybe better. The Bears are coming. I mean, let's believe in them. I believe in them.
I feel like they're not going to be like 7 and 9.
They're 7 and 10 like the Bears were last year.
7 and 10.
I think they should be better. I mean, I'm willing to put it on film. I'm ready. I'm willing to.
I think they're going to make it to the playoffs.
That's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say that is my maybe not expectation, but that's what I want that to happen, and I think it can happen. So.
And I hope they make it to Final Four.
Oh, the semifinal of the NFC. That'd be pretty good for Caleb Williams' rookie year, wouldn't it? To make it that far.
Probably be the rookie of
Although
the
you
year.
know what, probably. But you know what? When you get that far and then you lose, oh, it's just like ripping your heart out.
Yeah.
I mean, you remember.
Like what happened to the Lions.
Or how did you feel about the 49ers in the Super Bowl? You know, you get that close and oh man, it was right there, and then you don't
It
get
was
it.
just one touchdown that they needed to get.
Yeah, just a couple plays here and
And
there.
also, I think that on that kick that they decided to do, I
Yeah.
really think they should have done it. Went for it.
Oh, and did they miss a field goal or something?
No, they
or-
went for the field goal, went in the overtime,
Oh, and
but
they
they
could have.
made it. But I think they should have won.
Well, you know what they should have done is they do a coin toss to decide who gets the ball first in overtime.
They shouldn't have gone.
They should have said we don't want it first,
Yeah.
because then they could have seen the Chiefs go first. So yeah, that was kind of a blown strategy, and they had some stupid reason for why they took the ball first. The coach, I don't even remember, was like, "Oh, we don't want to give Patrick Mahomes the ball twice" or something like that. It's like, just no, that's not how he should have done it. But that overtime rule was kind of different because it was different in the playoffs from the way it was in the regular season. So I can see maybe a coach being confused. But still, they've got like 20 coaches on the team doing different things. Somebody should have told that coach, hey, if we win the toss, don't take the ball.
Yeah.
Oops. Well, you wanted to talk about the Niners, so how about we talk about the teams in the NFC West? We're going to go through every division real briefly, okay? Niners didn't make a ton of changes. They added an old bear, Leonard Floyd, who rushes the passer. He's always hurt. But they lost a guy who rushes the passer, Chase Young, who's always hurt. Other than that, they're pretty much the same team. Still Purdy, still Samuel, still McCaffrey, still Kittle. Brandon Ayuk,
It's traded.
well, he's kind of complaining about his contract. So I don't know if he'll get traded or not. Man, it would be pretty awesome if somehow he ended up traded to the Bears. I would really like Brandon Ayuk added to the team. They're still the cream of the crop in the West. The Rams, the biggest change for them this offseason is Aaron Donald. He's a great defensive player. He retired. He's quit playing.
And Jason Kelsey retired.
I was going to say that about the Eagles. Yep, the Jason Kelsey retired. So when we talk about them, yeah, we'll bring that up. Donald's out, though. He's retired, so that'll be a big loss for the Rams. So they made the playoffs last year.
Wait,
but
Donald's out?
Donald retired. He just said at the end of the season when they lost to the Lions, he decided that's it. He's won a Super Bowl. You know, he's going to go to the Hall of Fame. His first chance that he's eligible. So what else does he really have to play for? He's played for like 10 years.
I mean, I do kind of like the Rams now.
Even though Aaron Donald's gone? Yeah, okay. Well, hopefully the Rams will be as good if you're a fan. The
But I mean, they still have Cooper Cup. which
Cooper
is
Cup and
great.
Puka Nacua.
Puka Nacua.
There you got it. Okay, the Seahawks, their biggest offseason acquisition was they changed their coach. They fired a coach who won the Super Bowl for them, Pete Carroll, hired a guy named Mike McDonald, who is not the lead singer of the Doobie Brothers. It's a different Mike McDonald. So, yeah, that was the Seahawks change. The Cardinals added a few ex-Bears to their defensive line. They're not very good. I mean, Justin Jones and Bilal Nichols. And listen to this Justin Jones guy, he played for the Bears last year. He was okay. The Cardinals paid him $10 million a year. Yeah, for an average player, I would say. Insane. So the Bears let him go. When they heard, oh, you're getting 10 mil from the Cardinals? Goodbye. Congratulations on getting rich, but you're not, because the Bears could have said, oh, we'll pay you $10 million and $1 to play with us. But they said, for $10 million, Justin, see you later. So that's the NFC West. I still think the Rams are the best, or I still think the Niners are the best. Rams are in there. Seahawks and Cardinals, I don't see either of them as playoff teams. But the Cardinals do have a high draft choice, and they're going to take Marvin Harrison Jr. He's awesome.
So the Panthers were horrible this year.
Yeah.
So do you think they've changed at all?
Let's talk about the NFC South while we're at it. We'll kind of go bottom to top on this division. The Panthers have a new coach. They took an offensive coach from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers named Dave Canales. So they switched coaches already. He's supposed to be good for Bryce Young, so maybe he'll be better. It's going to be hard to be worse than winning 2 games, don't you think? So it seems like the Panthers will be better than a 2-win team. I don't think they'll be a playoff team.
Yeah.
They added a receiver from the Pittsburgh Steelers, Deontay Johnson.
He's pretty good.
He's decent. And Jadeveon Clowney rushes the passer from the Ravens. But they lost to defensive lineman Brian Burns to the Giants, so that's kind of a wash. The Panthers are not going to be a threat. The Bears play them next year. I would expect the Bears to pummel them.
Wait, what team are the Bears? Did Burns go to?
Did who go to?
Burns.
Brian Burns went to the Giants. So
That will help them a little bit.
it should help them, yeah. Let's see. Next in division, the Saints really pretty much stayed the same. They added that guy Chase Young, who I said was always hurt, from the 49ers to rush the passer.
But, I mean, the Saints were fine.
They were fine. They were probably like 8 and 9 or something like that. They were okay. I don't like Derek Carr. So I don't think the Saints are going to be a playoff team either, but they almost were last year.
Yeah.
The Falcons. Now there's a team who's made a big change and looks like for the better.
Yes.
They changed coaches.
Kirk
Cousins, quarterback. I mean, they paid him a ton of money, but he's way better than the guy that they had last year.
Yeah.
They added Darnell Mooney, who, if you remember, he was the Bears guy who dropped that ball
He was
that field
good,
through. He was
though.
okay. But they let Mooney go, but then they got Keenan Allen, so that's getting better at wide receiver for the Bears.
And Swift. Or
And-
wait, no, he's a running.
He's a running back, right. Let's see. So the Falcons, I feel like, with a new coach, Raheem Morris, who used to coach the Rams defense, and then Cousins and Mooney, they've got some young players in Drake London and Kyle Pitts, tight end. I think they could be dangerous in that division. Then there's the Buccaneers. And the Buccaneers' biggest move, I would say, was to bring back Baker Mayfield and to bring back their best receiver, Mike Evans. Because those guys were free agents to where they could have gone to another team, but the Buccaneers kept both of them.
And free agents are great.
Yep.
And also, Justin Fields went to Steelers.
Pittsburgh Steelers. Yep. We'll get to them when we get to the AFC teams. Okay, let's quickly run through the NFC East. Dallas, they didn't make a lot of moves. Their running back Tony Pollard went to Tennessee, and their tackle Tyron Smith went to the Jets.
Wait, about the Titans.
Yeah.
Didn't Derrick Henry move to another team?
Baltimore. Yep.
That's
So they
right.
needed a running back, so they took Dallas's guy, Tony Pollard. Yep.
And also, they is Zay Flower on a different team?
Zay Flowers is still on the Ravens. Last year was his rookie year. So barely anybody ever gets traded or free. You're not a free agent after just 1 year. Yeah, you have to play a couple years for the team that drafted you. The Cowboys' biggest move is that they probably got the old head coach from the Vikings, Mike Zimmer, is now coaching the Cowboys' defense.
Is O'Connell still coaching?
O'Connell, yep, Kevin O'Connell is still the Vikings coach. Yep. So the Cowboys, I feel like they're going to be worse because of the guys they lost. The Eagles added Saquon Barkley from the Giants, but Jason Kelsey, who's also going to be a Hall of Famer, he retired.
He did?
Yep.
Oh
You
yeah,
knew that.
Jason
You knew that.
Kelsey. I
Jason
thought
Kelsey.
You meant the quarterback.
Hurts, no,
Yeah.
he's still playing. Fletcher Cox, one of the veterans on the Eagles defense, he retired. I don't know if he's Hall of Fame bound, but he's a good player. But still, adding Saquon Barkley, that will help the Eagles offense for sure. They'll probably be about the same. I would guess next year. The Giants, like we talked about with the Panthers, they added Brian Burns. But they lost Saquon Barkley. They lost their safety Xavier McKinney to the Packers. I don't think the Giants are going to be very good. They're a team that some teams are wondering, or some people are wondering, will they take a quarterback in the draft? Because they picked 6. Daniel Jones, Danny Dimes.
Is he going to another team?
Well, he probably isn't going to get traded because they just signed him to a huge money contract just 1 year ago. So I kind of feel like the Giants are probably stuck with Jones for another year because they have other needs for that. They need a wide receiver, and they're going to be in prime spot to take a receiver.
Who is Michigan's wide receiver? Or was that their running back?
Blake Corum. Blake Corum, I think, is one of the better running backs in this draft. He's from Michigan, but maybe that's the guy you're thinking of. So we talked a little bit about the Giants. The last team in the division is the Washington Commanders. They draft second in the draft, so they could take McCarthy. They could take Jaden Daniels, the Washington Commanders, because they don't have a quarterback. They traded Sam Howell to Seattle. They have a new coach, Dan Quinn, from Dallas's defense.
And about the Broncos, who is their quarterback?
Russell Wilson, goodbye. He also ended up on the Steelers. So maybe that'll be a good segue. We've talked about every NFC team. Why don't we talk about the AFC North and the Steelers? They got rid of every quarterback they had. They had 3 quarterbacks last year, told them all hit the road, and brought in Russell Wilson from Denver and Justin Fields from the Bears.
Where did all of them go?
Well, let's see. Kenny Pickett went to be the backup with the Eagles. Mitch Trubisky went to be the backup with the Bills, where he used to back up Josh Allen. He was the starting quarterback for the Bears, too, for a few years. He was not great. And then their other guy, Mason Rudolph, went to the Titans.
Mason Rudolph was
He played at the end of the year.
pretty good.
He was the guy they played in the playoffs.
Yeah. But then they just got kicked out by the Bills.
Right, correct.
Bills were on fire for half of the year.
Didn't it look like they were going to kind of...
I thought they were gonna get into Final Four.
I thought they were going to beat Kansas City. Yeah, because that game was in Buffalo. You're right.
And I really they lost. They didn't make a field goal in a Super Bowl where they could have won their first Super Bowl, and now they miss it again in a game to make it to the final.
Although that would have just tied the game, right?
Where they could have won.
Right. So that was sad for the Bills fans because they look good. But getting back to the Steelers quickly, they got Patrick Queen, a linebacker from the Ravens. That's a big addition. I think the guys they added at receiver aren't very good, and they traded Deontay Johnson to Carolina. So it's like, okay, you got better quarterbacks, Wilson and Fields, to pick from, but now you have worse receivers for these quarterbacks to throw to. So we'll see how good the Steelers are. Let's see, we'll talk about your Cincinnati Bengals.
Okay.
I think I told you Joe Mixon, he went to the Texans.
And Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase are both
Still there.
Good. How about T. Higgins?
T. Higgins is there. He's not thrilled because they gave him something called the franchise tag, which means they'll give you just a 1-year contract that pay you a ton of money. But these guys want, like, oh, give me a 3-year contract. Give me a 4-year contract. It's safer. It's more money. So T. Higgins isn't thrilled, but it sounds like he'll show up and play. I mean, I don't think he has any other choice.
I mean, he's pretty good.
He is pretty good. He's a good second receiver to have.
Yeah. Wait, he's a receiver? I thought
T.
he was
Higgins.
a tight end.
No, he's a receiver with Chase.
Oh.
Yeah. Let's see. The Bengals added an offensive tackle from the Patriots, a tight end from the Patriots. They got Zach Moss from the Colts to be their new running back. They got a couple safeties.
How about Taylor like his last
Jonathan Taylor?
Yeah.
The Colts?
Yeah.
He's still on them, yeah. We'll go to that division next. Quickly, the Cleveland Browns. They really only added guys. They added a guy named Jerry Jeudy from the Broncos, a receiver. I don't know how your Uncle Tim's going to feel about that. Jeudy was kind of a disappointment for the Broncos, but still, to lose him and have nobody to come in for him, that's tough. And then finally, the Ravens. I told you, they kind of got their roster gutted. They lost a guard who's really good. Actually, they lost both their guards. They lost their edge rusher, pass rusher, Jadeveon Clowney. They lost their linebacker, Patrick Queen. They lost their running back, Gus Edwards, to the Chargers. But they added Derrick Henry, who is still one of the best running backs in football. We got about 10 more teams to talk about. We'll be quick. Okay, AFC South. You talked about the Colts.
Yes.
They didn't really make any changes.
Okay.
Jonathan Taylor's still their running back. Anthony Richardson will be back as their quarterback. They're almost the same team. The Titans lost Derrick Henry. Lost 3 guys to their defense, it looks like.
They're not going to be good.
Well, they got a new coach. They took Joe Burrow's offensive coach and made him their head coach. The Titans' new coach used to coach Joe Burrow.
Yeah, but they're still.
They're probably not going to be very good. They got Calvin Ridley from Jacksonville. They did add to their secondary with a couple of cornerbacks.
Josh Allen still on?
The other Josh Allen? Yeah, he's still on the Jags. In fact, they signed him to a big contract. Kind of like what Justin Jefferson is looking for, and kind of like what T. Higgins are looking for, but what they haven't gotten yet, Josh Allen got that. Where the Jaguars said, yep, we'll give you a 4-year deal. We want you to be on our team for 4 years. And they gave him a ton of money.
He's defense.
He is defense. He rushes the passer. He's good. He's an up-and-coming player, yeah. The Jags, like I said, they lost Calvin Ridley, but they took Gabe Davis from the Bills. They took the Bills center, Mitch Morse. They took a defensive lineman from the Niners, Eric Armstead. He's usually pretty good. So the Jags kind of built their team up a little. I think the Jags were disappointed they missed the playoffs, so they had to beef up their team a little bit. And then there's the Texans. They were the best team in the division last year. They still have C.J. Stroud, who's Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
And they added Joe Mixon. They added Stefon Diggs.
Stefon Diggs?
Yep. He's on Texans. They added Danielle Hunter.
Why did the Bills trade him?
You know, Stefon Diggs was kind of a complainer.
What?
He would, if you're Josh Allen and I'm Stefon Diggs, and we're coming off the field after a play, I would be saying, hey, Josh, why didn't you throw it to me? Why didn't you throw it to me? I was open, Allen.
That's
Stefon Diggs. Well, a lot of your friends at school then act like Stefon Diggs. And receivers, some receivers will just say, hey, all I want to do is win. And you know what? If Stefon Diggs gets covered, that means maybe somebody else is wide open. So
now C.J. Stroud is going to have to deal with things.
yes, which you have to deal with Diggs, but he's a great player. So it's kind of like, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Maybe you should just throw it to him so it's not like.
True, but is that winning football? You know, because then you're just forcing it to Diggs just to make him happy, just to make one player happy. What about Nico Collins? What about Tank Dell? These guys were good receivers. Don't they deserve a few targets? You know? Hi.
I'm just can this be like a phoned-in question?
Yeah.
From like
It's Chris Chandro, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey everybody. I just want to know, I kind of had the privilege of meeting this particular individual today, and I want to know where you guys would rank them.
Okay.
It's a
Name dropper.
Minnesota Gopher tight end, Braven span forward. Apparently he's going to get drafted a couple days. Does he have a shot?
I am not going to fully support a Minnesota Golden Gopher as a Wisconsin Badger alone.
Oh.
But I'm sure he's a nice young man and has a chance to shine. What about you? What do you know about this chump Gopher tight end?
I don't know him.
You don't know him?
6'7", 270 pounds.
He sounds big. He sounds
He's
like a
real
blocking guy.
He's a real beefcake.
You know what?
Is
Actually,
he a blocker?
No, he's a tight end.
but a tight end can block. And you know what? The Bears need a blocking tight end.
Ooh.
So maybe with their 4th round pick, if this guy's worthy of a
Or
4th round
ninth.
pick, they don't have a 9th round pick.
Oh,
In fact, they only go 7 rounds.
Oh.
So, but the Bears, they only have a 3rd and a 4th after their first 2 picks. I'd say he's got a shot.
So you're telling me he's
Sounds-
got a shot?
There's a chance. I don't want to disappoint this kid's dreams,
So-
you know, and you know.
All right. Well, thank you.
Yeah,
I
congratulations.
appreciate
I
it.
was expecting you to say, "Oh, I was with the president," or you know, something a little
Listen.
more of a name drop than that.
Well, 8th round tight end for the Gophers. Whatever.
Okay. Wow, we had a guest appearance from your dad. That's pretty cool. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the question. That was totally ad-libbed, and we passed with flying colors.
Here or no?
I would say you crushed it.
Okay. Lori, we've only got 8 teams left to say or talk about. So, AFC East or AFC West? What do you want to talk about next? East? Okay, let's start at the top. Buffalo Bills. Like I said, their team has kind of gotten gutted since the end of the season. Stefon Diggs, out. Leonard Floyd, pass rusher, out. Gabriel Davis, out.
They could have
Mitch
least
Morse.
make it to. Well, I wouldn't say they could make it to the playoffs, but they could make it close.
The thing is, a team like the Bills, when you pay a quarterback and they pay Josh Allen, you can't pay as much money to the rest of your team.
Yeah.
So that's what happens with a team like the Bills, and to some extent with the Ravens. Their guys just sort of, oh yeah, we'd like to keep you, Gabe Davis. Yeah, we'd like to keep you, all this center, Mitch Morse. But they paid all the money to Josh Allen, so he's kind of got to do it by himself. He's going to have to do it with young guys and guys who were backups last year.
He's good at throwing.
Yeah.
But another one of his talents is rushing.
Right.
So
he's
he
got.
could rush all the
He's going to kind of have to do it all. Yeah. I mean, James Cook is a pretty good running back. They still have him. I think the Dolphins, they lost a few guys too. Van Ginkel to the Vikings.
Gladly they didn't lose Tua Tagovailoa.
Not Tua, and they didn't lose
Or their
your boy the
best.
Cheetah.
Yeah.
Yep. But they lost Christian Wilkins, one of the best defensive linemen, to the Vegas Raiders.
And they didn't lose
Waddle,
Yeah,
Mostert,
Waddle,
Achane, they're all still there. So their game is speed. I mean,
Wait.
they just have speed everywhere on offense.
He's probably a guy that used to be there. Do you know anyone named Zach Thomas?
Zach Thomas, yeah, he was a linebacker and now he's in the Hall of Fame. Yeah, he
I
probably.
got his card.
Cool. Zach. It's spelled like Zach. You're right. Okay, I think the Dolphins and Bills both lost a lot of guys. I think the Bills lost more. So I kind of think the Dolphins are positioned to now be the best team in that division. The other two teams, I'm not going to mention the idiot quarterback who's back for the Jets, who got hurt on like the 3rd play of the game, because I can't stand that guy. But he'll be back. The Jets added some guys. They traded for Hassan Reddick, a pass rusher from the Eagles.
The Jets just aren't gonna.
Let's hope they're back. Let's hope that their quarterback just, is a bust. And then finally, the Patriots. They have an old player to be their new coach. The biggest news of the Patriots is they either fired or Bill Belichick quit. He was the coach who won them 6 or 7, I think it was 7 Super Bowls or 6, I think it's 6 Super Bowls.
He was a madman, but a good.
Yeah, he's a good coach. Good coach. And not a happy guy, you're right, he's always. There was a famous interview with him where somebody was asking him questions. The only thing he would say is, we're on to Cincinnati. We're on to Cincinnati. We're on to, because he didn't want to talk about the game that was just happened. He's on to the next one.
So he wants to be on the Cincinnati game.
No, what he was saying was, I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about the game against the Bengals. So he's just like, we're moving on to Cincinnati. We're on to Cincinnati. We're on to Cincinnati. That's all he said. Pretty boring, huh? So yeah, the Patriots' big move
Did they
was.
win against Cincinnati?
I don't remember if they did. He said this several years ago, probably 5 or 10 years ago. I feel like.
I'm guessing they did.
Probably. 4 teams left to talk about. Let's talk about the Chiefs. They added Hollywood Brown from the Cardinals, a wide receiver. This is kind of a dicey topic for me even to talk about, but do you know who Rashee Rice is?
Yes.
Do you know that he was driving 120 miles an hour and got in an accident, and now he's facing 35 years in jail? Yeah.
Who?
Rashee Rice. So the best receiver of the Chiefs might not be playing in the NFL next year. The lesson is, don't drive your car 120 miles an hour and cause a 6-car accident, because that's just being dumb. And Rashee Rice is going to pay the price for being dumb.
Well, he does have a lot of money to pay.
He has a lot of money, but money doesn't necessarily keep you out of jail.
True.
It gets you a good lawyer. So, all right. The Chiefs kind of lost a lot, though. They lost an offensive tackle. They traded a cornerback to
Don't tell me
the Titans.
they lost their running back.
No, they still have Pacheco. They still have Mahomes. They still have Kelsey. And you know what?
Of course they have Kelsey and Mahomes.
Right. And you know what? As long as they have Kelsey and Mahomes, they're probably going to be okay.
Yeah.
But Chiefs fans have to be disappointed with Rashee Rice.
But-
you just had a great rookie season. You just were on a Super Bowl team with us.
And now
What
you're
are
in
you
jail?
doing? What are you doing? Just dumb. Just dumb. The Broncos, like we talked about, Russell Wilson, free agent, gone. Jerry Jeudy, traded. I don't think they're going to be a real factor. I don't think they're going to be any good. 2 more teams. The Chargers made a ton of changes. They got Michigan's.
Is it good?
Well, I don't think so. They got Michigan's new coach, or old coach, Jim Harbaugh.
Michigan State.
Oh, Michigan, the team that won the national title, the team that had J.J. McCarthy and Blake Corum.
Yeah.
Their coach is now the Chargers coach. But they lost a lot of their best players. Keenan Allen's gone. Austin Eckler, their running back, is gone. Mike Williams, their second best receiver, is gone.
Justin Herbert.
They still have Justin Herbert. So that's another team where you pay a quarterback, all your other guys you can't pay, and they go elsewhere.
Yeah.
Last team is the Raiders. I would say they got rid of Josh Jacobs. He went to the Packers, and they didn't really replace him. The biggest thing the Raiders did was they kept their interim coach. So they fired their coach midway through the season last year, and a new guy, Antonio Pierce, came in. They decided to keep Pierce as their head coach. So the players like that. Like Max Crosby, he was saying, man, if you don't keep Antonio Pierce, I'm going to be mad. And the team decided to keep him. So that was kind of our little NFL rundown of the offseason.
Did
I'm
you
sure
say
we
had
went
2 teams left.
the Raiders and Chargers. Yep.
We didn't talk about the Raiders.
Oh, I just said Antonio Pierce. They kept him and they
Oh,
let
I
Josh
thought you
Jacobs
said,
go.
The Chargers.
No, the Chargers were the team that took Michigan's coach, Jim Harbaugh, and let all their good players go because they paid Justin Herbert money. So So you're excited? Are you gonna watch the draft?
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So I think it starts at 6 o'clock, 8 days from now. 6 o'clock on
Mom, you
Thursday.
can remember that, right?
Yep. And you know what? I think it's even on ABC, and different channels will show different things. ABC usually focuses on like, I think the families getting excited and they really interview the guys, and then ESPN might be more about the highlights. So you either get the human element of it, where you get to see all the, you know, the tears and the excitement of getting drafted, or you get kind of the nitty gritty. I want to see the highlights. I want to see this guy tackle. I want to see this guy throw touchdowns. I want to see this guy catch touchdowns. So you'll have to decide whether you watch ABC or ESPN's version of the draft. But I will guarantee you that shirt will be the shirt of the Chicago Bears quarterback in 8 days. So that's pretty awesome. Good show. I know we rambled way longer than maybe the target time, but we had a lot to talk about, right? So, boom. Thank you, people. And we had a guest question from Chris Jandro. We've got Emmeline lurking. No questions from her, though. She just wants to just distract. That's all we got. Thank you, people. We'll probably be back for week 1 of the 2024 season when we can talk about real games again, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, everybody's just excited.
Yeah.
The draft is the time when everybody's excited.
Yes.
Can
Woo!
I do a little dance for them?
Do it.
Later, suckers.
Wait.
It's the whole Jandro experience.